save profile. It'll ask for profile number. I can click here, it'll come up, and I'm going to name this CSLT for Colombian Supremo Light. And I'm going to click OK. Now this has been saved, so we're back out. Exit the system, go into auto operation. I'm going to select a profile. The profile I'm going to select is Colombian Supremo Light. Now, even though I'm not going to do Colombian Supremo Light again, I'm going to start my roast like this so that you can see how it holds the profile. The roaster is set to maintain a temperature of around 405. So if we let this sit for a few minutes while we're loading the other green beans, you'll notice that it'll keep the fuel values will change, and it'll keep it right at 405. And then when we start the next roast, it will follow that same profile that we just created. Near the end of that profile, I will exit auto mode and go to manual mode, and then I can make this roast a little darker than the previous one and save it as Colombian Dark. Second roast, the beans are loaded. That last roast took us 11 minutes and 38 seconds, and our final bean temperature was 422. You'll notice since we've been gone, it's been about 6 minutes, and it just followed. It keeps it right at 405 degrees. I'm on auto, so up here I can see my profile is profile 1, Colombian Supremo Light, and when I push start cycle, it opens the bin. Here's mine.
We done?
On the last one, I started at 70%, and after a few seconds, 20 seconds or so, I went up to 100%, and it did the same thing. And when it bottoms out, in just a minute, it will start fluctuating. So you can see as it's roasting, it's starting to follow that profile. So we'll come back in a few minutes. The profile followed it down, and that red line is the gas, where the temperature actually is, and how it follows the curve up. We're at 8 minutes, we're at 9 minutes right now. We're at 396 degrees climbing. And you'll notice when it gets to 400, you'll see the roast air kick up to 68, which is where we had it. Actually, I must have been over 400 when I said it, but it'll pick up. Now, I want to make this a darker roast, so I don't want to follow this profile the whole way. So what I'm going to do, and you see the air kicking up right now, it was about 406 when I did that last time. I'm going to exit out of the system, and I'm going to go to manual mode. My temperature drops automatically because it does that when you go to manual mode. So I increased it to 100%, actually to 50%. There you go. I'm going to leave it at 50%, kind of slow down this climb. Turn on my agitator. So for this roast, we're going to aim for about 435. For a medium roast, we're at 422, 10.5 minutes. I'm going to decrease my fuel temperature some to extend the time. And actually I just minimized it completely. I'll start checking the beans. They're a little darker no oil yet, but we're at 434. I'm gonna stop the roast. And that was 11 minutes and 3 seconds. That last roast, even though it followed the profile, what I've learned is it's better to roast 3 or 4 times before you save your profile. Because as the roaster builds up its heat, maintains that core temperature up, usually takes 2 or 3 roasts. The profile, you set it too soon, it'll get faster and faster. In this case, that second roast went to 434 and only took us 11 minutes and 3 seconds. If I did one more roast manually and then save the profile the way I wanted, then it would be set and follow it that way from then on. I found it's really important to get this roast warm and let it warm up for 20 minutes before you use it. I'm going to do one more roast with Kenyan tea berries, which is the only Kenyan I have. And this will be your dark roast that I'll send you some of. I'm going to follow this same profile, but then I'm going to cut it off at the end, and I'll show you the final part of that. I won't show you the whole roast, but I'll show you the final part of that. And then sometimes when you roast darker roast, you have to really slow down the curve in the back, on the back side so that it doesn't time out. All of this roaster is set so that the afterburner and the roaster cut off at 160 degrees when the temperature gets that high. So what I like to do is slow it down to that last 5 degrees. As long as the momentum of the temperature isn't going up, it won't ever get to 460, and I can still get it. All right. This is the darker roast, and when I got to 440 degrees, I cut the gas off completely. I brought that at 457. The drum door will close and immediately will start heating back up. So if you're going to not roast for a while, or if it's your last roast of the day, you don't have to go back here. Always open the drum door, let the afterburner temperature drop down, and then once it drops down, I exit out of the system. It's usually when my temperature gets down. And now my afterburner is shut off. I can hear it's not running right now. It's down. I'll exit out of the system. I'll stop my gas. And I'll leave the drum door open so it can just cool. And there you go. That's it. That's good. I want to show you the inside of the cabinet, the control cabinet. This is your PLC up here, and then these are all the drives, the Siemens drives that I told you about. I do have the display that you can take on and off so that you can adjust your parameters for your drive. And we have the cover that goes on that, but this display will come with it. Also, I've got the wiring diagrams that we've got for the whole thing. There's a modem right here, so you can connect, and Diedrich can troubleshoot if you want. Over here. All of this is the wiring and the conduit that come with the roaster. You won't need, you're not buying the afterburner, so it doesn't come with all that part, but it will come with the conduit for the afterburner and all of the gas lines. So really, all you have to do is hook this compartment up to a 3-phase 80 amp breaker, and that will control everything.